How's business? That's simple enough, right? You might have said, fine, that's okay, pretty good, maybe even great. But how do you know? On today's Small Business Rally Point, we're going to be challenged by 5 questions to evaluate the health of your small business with our guest, Mary Wedor. Welcome to Small Business Rally Point, the official meeting of small business owners everywhere. I'm your host, Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. Now, this show is built to bring together the small business community so we can learn a little, laugh a little, and do some networking. It's kind of a break for your Monday because, well, Monday. And we're also going to reflect and connect on today's show. Big thanks to our sponsors, Bank59, Quick Trip, Serendipity Labs, and of course, the Idea Collective collaboration community for small business owners. Now, a reminder, this is important. The show is interactive. So if you have questions, comments, or sarcastic remarks, of course, they're always welcome in the chat, and we'll work them into the show. And we're going to do a little bit of Q&A today inside the show. So we'll definitely want you to jump on when we ask you about your small business success. We'll do that after our interview with Mary. And then we'll hang out and do a little bit of networking with our Quick Trip networking after party so you can make sure that you meet everybody that's on the call today. But let's get down to it. Our guest today is Mary Wedor, a small business owner for 13 years, but now she's the branch manager for Bank59 in Menomonee Falls. Mary, great to see you. Welcome to the show. How is your Monday so far?
My Monday's great. Thank you. I'm excited to be on the show with you guys today. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. So we said that you've got small business experience and you're running a branch for Bank59. So give us a little bit of background about how you ran a small business and what that looked like.
So I ran a auto body shop with my first husband for a little over 13 years. We started when we were pretty young, and we were working very hard and floundering a little. And luckily, we were invited to a seminar in Lake Geneva. Coincidentally, I saw you're going to have a seminar there in the near future. And that seminar that we went to actually saved our business. It was by 3M Arms. It taught us how to run our business and do job costing and find our break even and all the things related to our 5 questions today to check business health.
And that's what today's kind of built on, right? The
Right.
things we need to know to make sure that we're running a small business that can not only stand the test of time, but also grow and reach the goals that we've set for ourselves. So let's start with the gory statistics when it comes to small business owners, because while we think we're all going to live forever, sadly, that's not really the case, is it?
It's not. So we just like to start with statistics. Like we're very optimistic. We're not doom and gloom, but we also have to look at risks and weigh them and make plans so we don't become one of the statistics, right? So the small business defines, the SBA defines a small business as having 500 or less employees. So that's usually all of us. And most businesses in the first year, the survival rate is 80%, year 2, 70%, and year 5, 50%. So we want everyone on this call to be in the 50% and beyond and to be one of the survivors. So so then one of my favorite quotes that I learned early on in business is by John Belkley, and it's most people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So we don't know what we don't know, right? So that's why we network and we help each other and figure out what we need to make it in this world and enjoy our business and work at our passion.
And that's what the Idea Collective is all about, is helping each other out and learning what we don't know. So today is kind of a gamification of these 5 questions, right? We're going to go through these questions, and if you can't answer all 5 in the right way, you might be not doing what you need to do to make that 5-year mark and beyond. So let's start off with question number 1. What is Mary? I feel like we need a drum roll, right? We need a marching band to come in here, drum roll. We need like some production value going on. So what is the number 1 challenge, the first thing that we need to know for our small business survival?
So the first thing that you need to know is, do you have enough money to be a business? So the number 1 failure is being undercapitalized. And then the part that usually goes along with that is people think they have enough, or maybe they didn't know how much they really needed or how many years of money they needed. And they don't ask for money until they need it. And by that time, it's often too late, because by the time you need the money, you probably aren't going to qualify to get it. So being proactive and knowing your numbers and making sure you have that upfront, or if you're in the beginning stages, to get on that right away and ask for money when you don't need it.
Okay, so that's a great point. So give us what a good job looks like. Is that a certain number of months of operating revenue? Is that a year of operating revenue? How do you define what a good job looks like with that particular metric?
So it's a little, we're gonna get into not too many details, but it's kind of goes by industry to industry. So if your point of sale, then your cushion might just be 3 months of expenses and overhead, because your food, and if you're a food industry, your point of sale is more real time. But if you're service, and it's gonna possibly be more fluctuating, then you might need 6 months at least of overhead and expenses. But sometimes, so that's, like basics. But the hard part, like say you are point of sale in a restaurant, then unfortunately most restaurants fail, is one of the largest failing areas. So you might need 5 years of money, because until you get enough market share, because there's so many restaurants, the only way you get new customers is if they stop eating somewhere else, right? So you might need 5 years of float money until you have enough customers to sustain yourself. So
And
it
that
is
makes sense.
pretty industry specific.
And that makes sense logically. But when a new restaurant opens, are they running with 5 years of float money in the bank? Is that real? I mean, it's realistic if you want to survive, but do most people do that?
No, that's why so many restaurants fail,
Hmm.
unfortunately.
Okay.
That's not always the number. So if you land, somewhere in the middle and you're willing to take that risk, but those are some of the challenges and ways that you can set yourself up for a better chance of success.
Okay. So number one, do you have enough money in the bank, and do you have access to money before you need it? That makes a lot of sense. What's number two? Now, if you hold on, if you pass number one, check. All right, good. Let's see if you can pass number two. What is the second challenge?
So the second challenge is, when are you going to make money, or are you making money? Are you turning a profit now? So
Okay.
that's
That seems obvious. Are you making money or not? Okay. So with that, what are some of the numbers that we need to know? Like, how do we dig in to find out when the break-even point happens or when profitability comes? How do you help people compute that?
So this is an area where, another area where people sometimes, just because they have money to pay the bills, and they don't always look at what they're paying themselves and compare that to how many hours they're working, then sometimes people actually know how much money they're making and if they're making a profit, and other times they just think they're making money, because they have money to pay the bills. But sometimes when you do the math, if you're and again, we're not trying to be doom and gloom. We want you to be successful, and we want you to earn a good wage for the hours you're working. But so when we were first in the body shop, we were making like $7 an hour, so you don't want to work 90 hours a week and make $7 an hour. So
Those
to find out what your break even is, again, for point of sale or services, you have to have the costs and everything in the right buckets. So that's where you might need to get help. Like if you're the owner and you're also doing tasks, that are employee related, you need to account for that in the right bucket to really see what you're making.
what you just said there, what you're really making. That's the type of thing, like you kind of look through your eyes like this, like Jennifer is asking in the chat, like, should entrepreneurs really calculate how much they're making per hour? Is that a healthy activity?
Well, it can be because this is your passion. So really it's realistic to say I might not make any money the first 2 years, but in 5 years I'm gonna be killing it and I'm gonna have more options and choices and I'm gonna be making a lot of money, so it's worth it. So, there's a trade-off. But when you want to be your own boss and you're passionate and love what you're doing, then it's worth it.
Yeah, I think I'll love what I'm doing when I'm making more money per hour, though. I'm just
Yep.
being honest. Like, I think I'll love it more. I'll love it harder when I'm making it. Anyway, all right. So we've got the first two down, right? Do you have access to
Yep.
money and are you making money? Those are good. What is number three, the third challenge? If we've passed the first two, what's the third one?
So what is your plan for growth? This is another area that people really trip. Like they're making money now and they're going to grow, so they buy more equipment or they expand their building and they hire 3 more employees and they made some sales projections and they're just going to go all out. And now their cushion is gone and their numbers didn't come in at what they thought. They didn't sell that many widgets or have that many customers, and now they just went out of business because they went too fast.
And wouldn't
So
that be heartbreaking? You grow
yeah,
too fast and then go out of
yeah,
business, but doing what you do and in your experience, you see that, don't you?
yes. So there's some easy formulas, and if I just give you, an idea is, so when you think you're ready to hire a new employee, it probably makes more sense if you have one or more employees or just yourself to work 60 or 70 hours a week. And then when you have enough to support another 40 hours, that's when you hire the next person. So either you're going to work a little more yourself, you're going to pay someone you already have overtime, you're going to hire someone part time, or a combination of all these until you can actually support that next full time person or buy that new piece of equipment.
And I think when we think plans for growth, we don't always think about the people that will help us get the plans for growth. We think about the new product, we think about the new
Yeah.
clients, that kind of thing, but not often, like you were saying, funding the people that will help us build that growth is not something that is always talked about. Are there other issues that go into planning for growth outside of the people that we need to talk about?
Yeah, so the more people you get, then it gets a little more complicated. It gets more fun, it's gonna free you up, but now you have HR things and you have payroll responsibilities and you have more irons in the fire. So making sure that you have enough time to do that, or hopefully as you grow, you don't just take more on, and again you're doing more hours. So hopefully you do what you do best and hire your opposite then. If you're not good at numbers or you hate doing the bookkeeping, then one of the first people you should save to hire for is a bookkeeper. So do what you love and hire someone else to do the other stuff.
Amen to that. Amen to that. I don't think all of that would fit on a t-shirt, but if it could fit on a t-shirt, I would print that on a t-shirt because that
Mhm.
is the truth. All right, we've done three. What
Mhm.
about number four? Number four is
Number 4 is oops, I lost our revised. Here we go. Okay, how often are you looking at your numbers? So this is another area where you get busy and don't the months just fly by? Like you're like, oh my gosh, it's another quarter. We just did our um schedule for the first week in August. I'm like, oh my gosh, it is not going to be August in a few weeks. So timely information is also something that is going to be your best friend for being successful. You can't just use your accountant and look at reports quarterly and annually. You need information timely, and timely is at least monthly. And depending on what you're doing, and if you're doing real time or replacement of inventory real time, then daily you would need information daily, because if you don't have the product there to produce, then you're losing money. So those reports are very important. Then the other thing that that I see often, and that did happen to us in our business, is you ask your account, okay, he says your cost of goods sold is too high, but he doesn't know how to tell you to fix that, really. So you get your financial reports, and then if you don't know how to dig deep into those and figure out where you need to make changes, then you need to, ask for help. And in your industry, with the internet nowadays, really, there's so much information at your fingertips. Whatever you are having a problem with, just, look it up and you can figure it out. Like literally when we started, I was at the library figuring out open to buy and things like that. And so the information's there. You just have to know which part you need and go figure it out.
So we've gone through 4 questions. We've got a 5th one. If you've got a question for Mary Wedor, branch manager for Bank 59 in Menomonee Falls, get into the chat. We'll include it in the conversation. But we've covered a lot. Do you have money in the bank? Do you know your numbers? Are you profitable? Do you have a plan for growth? Are you looking at your numbers frequently enough? All of those things are things that have to be done to stay alive. And the 5th one is kind of a combo. Like, are you talking to your people and are you talking to your employees? Can you talk about why those 2 things are important when it comes to keeping your business open?
So we all know that our employees are our most valuable asset. So luckily at Bank 59, we're so blessed that we have our management team is very transparent. We have great communication. We know what's expected. So that is the perfect model for any business. Your employees have to know what's expected of them, how it needs to be carried out. You need to have, communication and be available. And if you have happy employees, you'll have happy customers. And really your happy employees come first, and your happy customers will just happen.
Now think about that. With all of your experience running the body shop, now managing a branch, putting them in that order is a little bit different than what you hear other people say.
Yeah,
Make your employees happy, then your customers will follow. Is that something you learned the hard way, or is that
definitely
something
the
that
hard
like you
way.
were trained to do? Can you talk about that?
Yep, definitely the hard way. And and it's because you're an entrepreneur. So this is your baby and you're very protective of it. And so I always tell my employees on my team, it's like, I really don't believe anyone gets up in the morning and says, I'm going to go to work and make a mistake. I'm going to screw up. And what is a lot of people's response when someone makes a mistake? Oh my God, how did you do that? What were you thinking? Instead of like, well, okay, let's take a breath and see how this happened and how we can avoid it in the future and what can we do to make it better. Like, then you want to work together as a team and you want to move forward, not hit someone over the head and beat them up and say, okay, now get up and do it right. You know?
We might want to do that. It's just not the
Yeah,
right thing to do.
correct.
And then do you catch your employees doing things right where they're feeling good and then they are super serve the customers? That's just kind of how it flows down.
Definitely. We try and compliment one another as soon as we see someone doing something right, and my customers compliment me on my team all the time, and I go out there and say, you guys are just awesome, and now we had somebody compliment you on your customer service or how you handled that, or when, especially the other thing that I think we can really help our employees and our team with is their response when it's not a good situation. Like, it's easy to be nice when someone's being nice to you, right? But if someone comes in and they were having a bad day, they're taking it out on you, but you didn't do anything. So what is someone's natural response? Their natural response is like, oh my gosh, get defensive and be like, oh, why are you talking to me like that? I don't deserve that. And instead, if you just kind of let them get it off their chest and take a breath and say, wow, that I can see where that would be so frustrating. Let me see how I can help you with that. Or, I hope I can make your day a little better.
Well, these have been
So
great. All 5 of these points have made us think and made us wonder, are we doing a good enough job to keep our business open for the next 5 years? Before we wrap up, Mary, I mean, you are at the bank, you're managing a bank. So you see business owners before day one, and sometimes you see business owners on their last day. The ones that make it and the ones that are successful, is there anything else that you see in those entrepreneurs that you want to make sure that you share with our audience?
Um, don't put off today, don't put off what you can do today till tomorrow. I would say that's it. Time management is a hard thing. And the funny thing that goes along with time management is most entrepreneurs are not what I call born organized. You're creative, and so
Hey,
time management is not your best thing. So you have to work at it and figure out what does work for you if you're going to be successful.
come on the show and then look at me like that. Come on.
Yeah.
You nailed me. Totally seen. That's a good reminder. Thank you. Mary Wedor, branch manager, Bank 59 in Menomonee Falls. You made us think today, Mary. Thanks a lot for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. All right. So that's what the show is for, to start a conversation that's meaningful to you as an entrepreneur and a small business owner. And we are definitely looking to continue that conversation. Let's do a little bit of a roundtable. I want you to think of a time recently that you've been successful, something good that's happened in your business. And I want to hear a little bit about how you achieved it. So Jennifer has agreed to go first. So Jennifer Buchholz, it's great to see you. Tell us about that win, because then I want to find out how you found that success. So go ahead. What good thing happened to you?
So I have been running events and helping with events for a little while. You guys may have noticed that. And I decided to add that to my business product lineup. And recently, through some networking, got an opportunity to help produce 10 events for a person who's contracting through a really, really big client. And 10 events is a lot. And so I'm like, okay, well, say yes first and land the job, and then figure out how you're going to deliver on it later. So last week, we did the first event at 6 a.m. Monday, and I ran it. We did another event on Tuesday, and I ran it. By Wednesday, the event, I was on site at my new contractor's house, and she was running the event with me right there behind her to help push the buttons if needed. And Thursday, she ran it on her own. She's running all the events this week and taking them on going forward. So I haven't let go of that control in a long time. So it's a super big win for me.
What's the biggest win? That you took the job and figured it out, or that you actually relinquished control?
Yes. and the mindset. So I'm going to go with some things we talk about in here a lot, is the mindset of going from I have to do everything myself because it's my business, to it would be cool if somebody else did the work and I made some money.
Isn't that great? Hey, you did the thing and I profited. Thank you. Please drive through. Right. And it's also that mindset that, well, no one can do it as well as I can. Right. No, people can. You can hire them and they'll do great.
Sometimes they can even do stuff better.
That's heresy. How dare you?
Blasphemy. I know. But that's, when you find somebody who can do something better than you, and then you look good because they look good, even better.
Yeah. Some of us look good all the time, Jennifer, but that's okay. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. All right, Ariel, you've got a success that you want to share. Let's hear about it. Tell us about what the success was, because then we're going to grill you and find out why it was great. Go ahead.
Ooh, well, since we didn't put a time frame on it, when you asked the business success, immediately my mind went to my first big contract that I got about a month after I started my business. I think not even a full month after I started my business full time. So that was a big success, and getting the yes for that, especially because I had a number in mind and then talked to somebody and they were like, ooh, too low, go bigger, go bigger. so I gave it, then I said, okay, this number, they're like, yeah, that's more reasonable. That's good. You should definitely do that. And then I wrote out the proposal, and then I said, well, this is a lot of work. I don't know if I want to do as much work. And if I do, I want to get paid for it. So I just doubled the number and pressed send. And they still said yes.
Amazing. And then what did that feel like when you doubled the number and hit send, and then they said, sure, no problem? That must have been an incredible rush.
It was an incredible rush. And the exciting thing was, it was terrifying to send it. At the same time, I realized, I'd regret sending it with the previous amount. and didn't want to downplay myself, even though I was new in business. I still knew that I knew what I was offering and that I knew the content and material. So then when they said yes, I was very excited. It was definitely a rush. And I was so glad that I doubled it because I knew it was the right amount.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Now look, we've got two really powerful themes. Jennifer's theme was hire people that can do things for you and better than you. And Ariel's theme is believe in what you're going to charge and you're worth more than you think. These are two really powerful things. Susie, you volunteered. Thank you for that. What success did you have and what can we learn from you?
I decided, well, in 2020, I spent all of my time doing everything and I was burnt out. So I decided to start handing some things off. And now I have a team of people that can do the work for me. And it's lovely. I would have done this much sooner had I known the stress that it was going to relieve from my life. And I think listening to people that you surround yourself with, they're smart people. Listen to them, get a coach, make a plan. Anything is achievable if you just take the steps moving forward. So that's what helped me.
I love that. And what you have that I think we can learn from is getting an outside perspective. So when your coach came to you and challenged some of the assumptions that you had, how did that feel? Because it doesn't always feel that great, does it? When someone's like, oh, you're doing it wrong. Like, did you react to that?
Oh, it's scary as hell. Yep. I probably was in the fetal position for a while.
Yeah. And were they right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. They know best.
They know best. They know best. Okay. So getting some outside input, hiring people to help you, making sure that you're charging what you're worth. Thank you, Susie, by the way. We've got one more we're going to include. Eric Clark, you've got one for us. Thanks for messaging us. So, okay, tell us about you. What success did you have? And we want to see what we can learn from it.
First of all, as someone that like produces micro content, I have the, the gift of like consuming all sorts of long form content. So there's a lot of learning from osmosis and hearing advice given to all sorts of people from all different walks of life across many different things, whether it's coaching or marketing or whatever. So like listening to these things and actually applying them is a big one. But the success I had is one of the businesses, we got a grant for 10K, which was like really exciting. So the two biggest takeaways from that were persistence and partnerships. So I know we've talked about offloading through VAs and things like that, but like finding someone that is good at what you're not or can do what you can't and creating a partnership with them has proven to be successful in all the businesses that I'm running currently. And then just being persistent. I've been sticking with that thing for, I think it's been like 6 years, and that it took that long for me to get to that point. And now we're about to transcend everything and it's really exciting. So that's just some of the stuff I had. So thanks for letting me jump on here.
No, that's great. And thank you for sharing. And that goes back to hiring other people or partnering with other people that are strong where you're weak. That's something that Mary mentioned as well, is bringing people on that are good at what you're not. That goes back to kind of the self-awareness of knowing what you're not good at. So Eric, I'll ask you, the partner that you brought in, what were they good at that you weren't good at?
So two of them are like in the same camp of they're organized, they're like number driven, they're calculated, they can do taxes and things like that. Like we just filed our Q2 taxes. When I say we, it was 110% not me. But then the other one, they're a full stack DevOps engineer, so they can do code. I can't write a single line of code if you held a gun in my head. So, but that allowed me to get rid of the people that we had overseas doing all that work and brought it here into the States where I can actually meet with that person weekly and we can, do Trello boards, initiatives and sprints and agile and all that stuff. So all areas of weakness for me for sure.
I love it. Well, that's great. Thanks for sharing. And this is the kind of conversation that I wanted to talk about, because when we hear Mary share the nuts and bolts of what it takes to be open, but then you hear some of your colleagues and friends talk about the wins that they've had, those wins and the things that we learned from their wins, those are the baby steps that it takes to continue to grow the business, overcome the challenges that you're facing today, and keep moving forward. That's why I wanted to do it. So thank you everyone for contributing. We've got something else that we're doing. And in case you've missed it, the Idea Collective Retreat for small business owners, the retreat is now live on sale. Don't Grow It Alone, November 5th through the 7th at the Grand Geneva Resort in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So this is a 3-day retreat that is just for you. If this conversation today has been vibing with you, if this is the type of feel that you want every day, you need to be an Idea Collective member. And if this is the vibe with these kinds of people helping you out who have your back so you don't have to grow your business alone, you need to be at this retreat and make all of these folks your friends. This retreat is starring Mel Robbins, the #1 keynote on the planet right now. She's going to do her 5-second rule information, and then over 60 minutes of Q&A, just like we had today, but with Mel Robbins. It's going to be unbelievable. Plus, my marketing hero, Jesse Cole, who's the owner of the Savannah Bananas and the founder of Fans First Entertainment, he's going to be with us in Lake Geneva to do some marketing brilliance, and he and I will do an Idea Slam meeting together over lunch. Many more keynotes are going to be announced between now and the retreat in November, but the early bird tickets will not last between now and November. We're almost halfway sold on our first 100 tickets. They're $5.99 each, thanks to our partner, Bank59. See what we did there? After we get through the first 100 tickets, the prices go up 25%. So get to smallbizretreat.com right now and scoop up those tickets before they're all gone, because as soon as we get to ticket number 100, price is going up, people. Don't get left out in the cold. The neat thing, too, that we don't talk about enough is when you buy your ticket, you get a 6-month free trial of the Idea Collective. So you can get right into the collaboration community and start connecting with people and getting help today with your small business. Another way you can do it, get a free year in the community with Bank59. Go to bank59.com/Idea Collective. And if you become one of their customers, they'll give you an entire year in the group just for hanging out with Mary and the others at Bank59. Small Business Rally Point is sponsored by Quick Trip. Make your next trip quicker by ordering ahead to their hotspot. Did you know you can do that? You can do that. You can get your favorite item ready to go with mobile ordering now available in the Quick Trip Rewards app. Download it today. A big thanks to Mary for coming on, for everyone in the community for sharing their wins. If you missed part of the show, no worries. We streamed it live on the Idea Collective Facebook page, and the entire episode will be up on the Idea Collective YouTube channel as well. I'm Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week with Small Business Rally Point. Bye, everybody.